Good morning, grasshoppers. A very small arena. Very small arena. Or I should say, very small. How am I going to do this? Oh no, I lost on time. Good game, our cargo. Does not list me as streaming at the moment. What? Because I ran out of time? It bumped me out? That's weird. Relics Rally. Let's give him a wake-up call. Oh, he's not here. My worst fear. Wonder if anyone got the announcement. Let's check our inbox real quick. Snowflower, happy Thanksgiving, diligent training now. Yada, yada, yada. They should also get kicked out of the team if they don't show up, right? This will not be the shortest Swiss ever. Despite our best efforts, this will not be the shortest stream ever. Let me pull the blinds. I am getting blasted by the sun. Did relics? No, I'm afraid our cargo. You are the proud winner of I don't even know. Good morning. A little late today. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Elmars, good morning. Happy Thanksgiving, sir. If you're in the United States. I'm not sure it's such a happy Thanksgiving elsewhere. But for those of you celebrating with family, hope all is well and the day is entirely uneventful. I've not sent my turkey Instagram post or anything like that. I don't think I can cancel it. Someone hasn't signed in yet. You're on the lead chat screen, but you're anonymous. You may be watching. Dylan is best. Where are you, buddy? You might win it. Somehow I managed to climb to second place. Woohoo! Our guy is here to save it. Chances are you're going to play. I can't get a second full point buy, so you're going to get a full point buy. I'm going to get a guy. Then I have to hope for the best.
I was petrified to thinking I could never live without you by my side. Then I spent oh so many nights just thinking how you did me wrong, and I grew strong.
I don't even know what I'm going to do here on Bishop G2. Let's start fighting for the dark squares as well as the light squares, since he started on the light squares. I don't know how to undo a pre-move on cheese.com, as it turns out. I'm always going to grab the space advantage. It's one of the 3 major advantages. That... Hold on. Grab the hydrate. It's one of the 3 major advantages that you can ask for. So here, I would love to have F5 in for the Let's just play very normal chess, as he does not have a square to put his pieces on. Build up our big center. I played very solidly. I lost 1 game in a Jesse February arena where I may pass everyone. 91. Fascinating. Can we bother him some more? Uh-oh. Let's see if we can get the rook on that square. He's trying to trap me. That was not a useful move on my part, but let's just keep keeping our bishop from being trapped. Whoops, you needed that square for your knight, believe it or not. I was fairly certain you needed that square for your knight. Alright, and now the moment of truth. Do we rip him open? I believe we do. And then we offer him our dark squared bishop on good faith. But he didn't want it. So now what is he going to do? Get our rook over to a file that matters. I will be carrying you. So who has the bad bishop now? Drive them away. The slow approach to attacking weaknesses. I did think about letting him take that, by the way. Now what's going on? He's taking, I'm taking. First things first, let's just take what we can. And now for something completely different. Just a small threat of mate. Just for one day. No, don't do that, sir. Did we get some new entries? Super Sri is here. This time he should beat me. I think you are tone deaf, sir. Good morning, Eric. Happy Thanksgiving. You were up early. On Thanksgiving here, no one showed up for the 5 a.m. stream, so I postponed it. Namaste, Elmars. Namaste. Are you in the arena, sir? Namaste, everyone. So against knight c6, the Jobava London is actually a good thing. This keeps him from taking my pawn on d4. Should we grab our space advantage? I don't know. Do something so wrong. Did I just lose a pawn? Looks like I just lost a pawn. Or did I? Maybe I saved it. Ah, lost the exchange again to Super Sri. Or did I? Or did I lose the exchange? I guess we'll find out. We'll be counting stars. Oh, yeah, Elmars should be in the Swiss. I don't blame you for not being in the mood, but I know that I've played a lot of games against Eriquito. I know. Actually, it really bothers me when streamers don't announce the names of the players they're speaking to. Like, Nemo responds to me, but then doesn't actually say. Although she does most of the time. I have to admit. She does do it most of the time. Get our exchange back since he's offering. Just because you're offering.
Summer comes and winter fades. Here we are, just the same. Don't need pressure, don't need change.
Let's just keep our composure here as we head over while tackling the d5 pawn. Please don't say. Ruh-roh. there's a math problem here. And Super 3, by the way, I was unable to recapture. I actually should have lost one game horribly if it wasn't to yours. I think it might have been to you. Did I make about 4 pre-moves by accident? I actually do not know how to undo a pre-move. Super sketch, right? So I might not say it back. So we have an extra knight. Picking up as many pawns as I can. Picking up as many pawns as I can. Thank you. That was the tactic I needed to make certain that this was going to go my way. Can't believe Super 3 should have beaten me on chess.com in the rated game, of course. And now we're going after the A5 pawn. 1, 2, 3. 3 steps to get the A5 pawn. Good thing I didn't pre-move knight c4. He was ready for me, folks. He was ready for me. Running him out of squares. And now for something completely different. No, I'm not going to bother that one. So how do I fork the remaining pawns? I do appreciate you stalling those Super 3 to get the remaining entrance in. Jesse February cannot play in this arena. Our car go. Hagai could not stop him. I appreciate the effort though, Hagai. No, I tried everything. I tried clicking on it, double clicking on it. He blundered with A4. Let's take a quick peek. Now the only way to learn is to get in it. I would suggest that you start off playing 5+3 or 10+5, whatever you're more comfortable with. Always leave yourself with an increment. With both of these, you will get your stuff back. I don't even know which one I want to work on. Let's just take a quick peek. If I were to you returned the favor. I blundered my rook on A8 to Super 3, I believe. On A8 in a Grunfeld. You played a horrible Grunfeld as white, and I just played B6 and you took my rook. I couldn't even lose a minor piece. I should have let you take on B7 at least. Oh no, I'm sorry to hear that. You might be surprised though, because I've had many students with ADHD, and I've had many students with the distant relative dyslexia. Now, if you have both, and I've had students with both and they became national champions. So if you have ADHD, the most important thing is to remember to not move. We do need to play some blitz. But do you have any games on, what are your games on Lead Chess, Elmars? What's your username again? I'm only 4 games away from reaching 13,000 games, which is pretty cool. Let's see, Bullet, I could get over 1900, or I could fall away massively. I'm down, and this is a correlative average over several games. I'm down 1 rating point in Blitz. And I'm down 19 points in Rapid and in Blitz I am down 15 games. 15 points. Oh no, I only really want my 1 point back. Almar is 2138. We're going to look at the constructive side of your game, sir. Oh, did I not get it? Well, 2138. Sorry. There you are. Let's turn this into, I am so thankful for my chat, my crew, Eric in Sacramento, Ron in Sweden, who's at work now, I'm sure, because there's no holiday. Oh, please, I'm not judging anybody. You have not seen my worst games. So we don't have any games together. I'm only going to look at rated games. First off, you're playing bullet games. So we'll go by that for the most part. Let's just do that. So first things first, always put a second pawn in the center before you commit your knight. I don't necessarily know if the knight goes there. For example, after bishop to c4 Elmars, we have the very classic game, bishop to g4. Now here I would definitely play knight c3, because if my opponent plays g6, white to move and win. Or white to move, yeah, white to move and win in this position. I would definitely do this. The stronger players will only be able to find one move. But there are 3 moves that are commonly played in this position. 3 moves commonly played in this position. 1, 2, 3 that are not the winning move. 3 moves that are commonly played in this position that are not the winning move. Castles, knight takes e5, testing the power of the pin of the knight of the bishop on g4. Say no more, super 3. h3. Yeah, h1 to h2 or h2 to h3, depending on where your counting system starts. If your counting system starts at 1, then this is h2, h3. We're still off a little bit. Yeah, I know. So I think, have we got all of them? We haven't gotten the last one, d3, which is commonly played. So Elmars, if you are trying to get to this position, I would suggest that you play bishop c4 on the 3rd move, because it fits more in line with knight to c3, knight to f3. And of course, Super 3 already knows this game. Does he know the name of the game, Super 3? And this is a real player. I just added his birthday, or at least I believe I'm adding his birthday to... You don't know the game? Knight takes e5, bishop takes d1. Knight takes e5 is the correct move. I'm trying to think if I saw this one first in... No, you don't have to know the knowledge of the lines. That's what I'm saying. You don't need to know any opening theory at all to be able to find this move. Sun Chaser. Namaste. Happy Thanksgiving to those of you who are celebrating today. But you're not memorizing any opening. Basically, you have two targets. Okay, everyone? The bishop on g4, the pawn on f7, are both of the targets in this position because bishop takes f7 check. When I've only had this in line from a Caro Kann, by the way. I got this from a Caro Kann. I'm trying to think of what my opponent played. Oh yes, my opponent played knight to d7. I played knight f3. They played knight f6, knight f6, knight f6, bishop c4. And then my opponent played bishop to g4. So in this position, we have the exact same problem, right? Is the bishop really attacking the queen, or is there a greater target on the board? Which there is a greater target on the board. Now, interestingly enough, this is not the exact same game position. Otherwise, I would have played bishop takes f7 check. And then knight to e5 check and knight takes g4. But because this wasn't the exact same game position in that game, I played knight to e5 and my opponent answered with queen to a5 check. And I realized that I was not winning material as much anymore. All I could really answer with, and it really didn't work out at all, was bishop d2. Yeah. So therefore, in this position, and I've had it many, many times in bullet games and blitz games, the fact that you're attacking something of greater value. So SSC, Southern State, California. Savas. I'm just going to call you Savas. So let's go back to the main game. In this particular position, the original game was, and I'm going to actually let Elmars have an approach to this study, Legal's mate. Legal's mate. Legal actually played a different move, like a6 or something, or h6, I believe. Which does make sense, by the way. If you were to reach this position from here, h6 stops knight to g5. If black were at all worried about that, bishop e7, of course, should be played. And I think Legal's mate was more along these lines. And it was knight takes e5, bishop takes queen, and the tag on the piece that is more important is here. And I had a student reach this from a Queen's Gambit accepted. To this day, I would love to have gotten that game from him. I really want all of his old scorebooks to find it. Now this theme comes up in a lot of different openings because this bishop, when it goes to g4, is not protected. So the queen can actually take the bishop. And this is called a relative pin. A relative pin means that it's not an absolute pin. Unlike the Ruy Lopez, let's take it from the other example. e4, e5, knight f3, d6, and this is why I like to play d4 straight away. E takes d4, queen takes d4. I can't tell you how many times I've played this in a variety of positions. Knight to c6. The relative pin is different from the absolute pin. The absolute pin means that it's illegal. Yeah. This one, it's illegal to move the knight. So this is an absolute pin because the king is involved. And so an absolute pin, you have less to worry about. But anytime you have a relative pin, you have to understand that a relative pin is not an absolutely real pin. They can still choose to move their piece. And many players have lost games because they've pinned a piece and the piece moved anyway and they're like, oh, because they can't take the queen on d1. Yeah, relative and absolute are firmly established. I don't necessarily know what the translations are from other languages, but certainly they're the best ones that I can go with. Unfortunately, like, let's just say I have students that are watching chesskid.com. So this is part of a really amazing game. Basically, now this bishop's move has attacked the queen. Why is it attack the queen? Because the bishop, if white's not paying attention, has broken the pin. And if white's not paying attention, if white castles, we lose our queen. So the bishop on c8, which is on a white square, can attack the queen on d4. And in classes, as I was about to allude to, I've often mentioned how moves can indirectly attack pieces, even though they have nothing to do with the piece that they are directly involved with. So in this particular example, I'm going to change the name of our stream. Pardon me for 1 second. Did I change it on both? Uh-oh, my grandson might be coming in. There he is. There's somebody to be thankful for. Come here, precious cargo. Cargo, come over here. Show off your shirt. No, real quick. Come here first. Come. And then you can go to the whiteboard. Come. Yes. Ah! Precious cargo, the grandson. Precious cargo. He's got a whiteboard marker and he's not afraid to use it. Oh no! The chess.com board is up in the background. Has that been up there the whole time? It's a final countdown. Yeah, are you going to the whiteboard? You gonna do some drawing? Yeah. I brought that whiteboard in here for myself to be able to write down names, quiz viewers. Thank you so much, Elmar. The grandson is priceless. So yeah, I finally looked at my stream and I can see that the cheese.com was up in the background. I'm like, why can't I read the chat? I will have a friendly game against you in an arena, in a Swiss. Very purposeful game. But hang tight, because we're here to learn. So basically, we have to guard this particular Thanksgiving holiday instruction stream. There we go. Control C. Let's change the stream title over here real quick. Just so nobody thinks that we're actually doing this. So, where are we? I usually castle in this position. I've had most of this. I actually won this game as white recently. I flubbed it a little bit. I'm trying to remember what I did. I'm up in time, so I chose this outpost square. My opponent actually went this far. I think they even went as far as rook to e8. And they cannot swipe the pawn on e5 because I get to play queen takes before I take on e7. So there's a nice seesaw tactic here that looks like it wins a piece, or it wins a pawn. because of the knight moving. Remember, it's a relative pin, and then the knight returns. Unfortunately, I would just recapture on d5 and I'm up a knight because I'm protecting that one. And if they do try to grab my queen, I get to throw in bishop takes e7 before as a Zwischenzug. A Zwischenzug is a switch and move that one player forgets about. So in this particular case, black plays c6 attacking the queen. We don't have to move the queen away, although we could. But we can force simplification with bishop takes e7. That's a Zwischenzug. The knight to c3 is a developing move. It controls the center two squares, e4 and d5. And basically, it wants to do that. So black in this particular historical game wants to get his rook to c8, so he plays a5, which is a very amusing move. And white doubles on this file, threatening the rook on it. Can I fix it? Yes. You can't pull off the oh, you have to use the eraser, Anakin. What? Use the eraser on the wall. Right there, see? This eraser. That's a better eraser, and you can take this back. Take that back. Even this eraser is broken. It's not going to go back. Very good. You want to erase the whiteboard. So we're threatening bishop takes f6 in this moment, believe it or not. So black unites his pieces, and after bishop takes f6, bishop takes f6. Now we have more themes to introduce. Candidate moves for white. Candidate moves for white. What can we do in this particular position? I'm going to get coffee on this particular one, all right? I do need coffee. I apologize. Watch my grandson take over the stream while I'm gone. I bet he'll do that, and I'll be in trouble with Twitch because he'll take it over unsupervised. Where are we? Let's put on the intermission screen for just a moment as I grab this coffee. I'll be right back. Are you going to hold the fort? Yeah? Okay.
Marco. It's Marco.
Yeah, that's a dry erase.
Wherever.
Oh, the cap? I guess we could just use this one for now, okay? Is that okay? Yeah, you... I know, you're such a good boy about putting the cap back on.
Mom, where is it in Rachel?
Made a wrong turn once or twice. Dug my way out.
Hey, Mom, where is it in Rachel?
That's alright. Welcome to my silly life.
Huh?
Where is it in Rachel?
Mistreated, misplaced, misunderstood.
Oh,
No, it's all good.
I don't know. Grandpa's coming. Might have to ask him. Hey, careful, bud. I spilled some coffee. Looking for the eraser.
Big eraser is what he was using. You were using the big eraser. It's right behind you on the carpet. Silly. I tell ya.
I think fun.
Get the whole house involved and trying to find the eraser.
Stay in there and play for a little
I think even chat could have helped you with the eraser if you could read.
The thingy,
What game?
the cat is.
You want to do the chess game?
Yeah.
Yeah? Alright, so did we come up with the answer? Let's see. No one even tried to come up with the answer.
That yellow.
No, those are cherry cough drops. Those are not candy. Put those back. Yeah. Cherry cough drops for when my voice was fading. Yes. All right. So meanwhile, let's switch it off of intermission for a moment.
I did it.
What?
I did this too.
That's also a cough drop. It's yellow. It's got a very yucky substance in the middle. You wouldn't like it.
What is it?
That's a cough drop as well. Don't eat that.
It's the bad one.
I forgot I had one almost unwrapped here.
What are these things?
Those are refills for your mom's use.
Why the bowl?
What? There are 4 because I just opened the box. So, if anyone hasn't... Oh, come on. Someone should give me a move. The queen is being attacked by a bishop, so this is a pretty straightforward move. We either have a rook move, or we move a queen. That's it. We can't block with the knight. Someone has to give a move. If you see the mouse moving, it's not me. Why are you moving my mouse?
That's like the off.
What?
That's like the off.
The what?
The off. When it's blue.
When it's blue?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a blue trackball.
Yeah, it's like the off.
Yes. Can you hover the mouse over the queen? Tap on the queen. Good. Hover the mouse over the queen. No, the white queen.
What is the key?
Right there. Now we're going to tap up here. And now we're going to go over to G4. Can you put the mouse on G4? There we are. Whoops, not that one. Hold on.
What is the key for?
G4, right there. White to move, G4. Now, does everyone see why this move is so good?
How I got here?
How did you get here? You walked.
Didn't you?
You walked here.
No.
Yeah, you did. You walked here from the other room. You opened the door and you walked here.
Look.
Yeah?
Well, I am.
Hey,
Ooh.
I appreciate it, Elmar. It's about sharing the knowledge.
Whoa. That's so cool.
So queen to g4, and the main idea here is that the queen is invulnerable due to the back rank checkmate. And it's game over. No, we can't move anything. You're not using the touch screen, Bubs. Uh-huh. So this is a very straightforward back rank mate. So if the queen moves away, candidate moves for white. Hold on, I need you to click over here. Is queen to d4 an okay move? Well, the queen just came from d4. So basically, in this particular position, the queen is on d4. Queen to g4 was played, and we didn't play that. Oh.
I need to get it home.
Okay. Love you. So queen to b5 was played. Ah, queen takes rook is a great idea. You know that that rook is defended by that rook. So therefore, queen takes rook. The problem with queen takes rook is when the rook takes back, there will still be two defenders on that square e8, as it turns out. And that rook won't be there anymore. That rook will be gone, and the two defenders will be here. So queen takes e8 is not it. That's a very good suggestion, and it's a very logical suggestion by every chess player who ever started out. I could actually see it, and I've seen it played, similar ideas played in games. You know, as a mod, I learned that mods can delete individual lines. They don't have to wipe out your entire chat history by timing you out. I'm really annoyed by that because there's so many times when I had so many good comments, let's just say at a stream, that I accidentally put a period in without a space after it, and it thinks it's a link, and then it wipes out my whole chat. And now Savas is after it, yes. Removing a defender, and we're going to keep highlighting this one as much as we can, because in this particular case, if the rook takes, we've got the same back rank checkmate, with the king not being able to escape. So as it turns out, after queen to b5, queen to c4, we don't need to trade queens. We can play our queen back to c7, d7. It seems like everything is good, right? Candidate moves for white again. I should have a timer up. I should go to the study screen. But this is the same. This is an extension of Elmar's game versus Nornar. It's true. Absolutely. No, I mean, the fact that we said it is not the important part, is that we did say it and we learned from it. The white to move. Anakin, what you doing? I don't want those whiteboard markers anywhere near my books, though. That's the only thing that I worry about, okay? He's already got whiteboard marker on his knee. Have you seen this game before? Savas. Queen to c7 is correct for the same reasons that we saw before. The rook going to e8 check will be made, because there's no way we can capture this queen on c7. And now, while I believe you are absolutely correct, Savas, Because when I first saw this game, I thought I knew the correct answer here. I did not know that I did not know the correct answer until I was over 1800 in this position. I actually thought that I knew the move here. Yeah, so it's a sacrifice, or is it? It's a sacrifice, or is it? It's more like an exchange of material for something greater, like a back rank mate. Exchange of material for something greater. Everything is an exchange, by the way. Every move, every concept, every idea is an exchange of ideas with the opponent. Your idea is stronger than your opponent's idea, then they're going to have to find the strongest possible replies with the ideas just to sort of persevere until the person with the better position falters and does not come up with as strong an idea, and then the person that has been defending with just good enough ideas to survive prevails. So candidate moves here for white. Well, there are two ideas in this position, one that works and one that doesn't. Both of them have the same concept, which is removing the defender of the rook on d8, on e8. For two different reasons they work. That's why I'm not putting on a timer. I think the timer sort of speeds things along too roughly. And we received how many books? 1, 2, 3, 4 books from MD Night Zero, who I hope will make it in today, but he should be with his family. His daughter. I love you. You can't play me right now, but you can work with me. We can play together. The chessboard is downstairs, though. The pieces are downstairs. That board doesn't have pieces that are small enough handy. That chessboard, let me see the chessboard. This board needs pieces that are 1.5 inches tall. No, that one you have to leave there. That's a decorative board. That board is being used to flatten out the other boards. Downstairs, the chessboard downstairs on the coffee table is the only board we have out right now. So queen takes c8 is the same idea as before, Elmars? When you were going from... when you captured that rook, whether you capture it in this manner or not, when this rook moves away, there will be nothing on this square, and there will be 2 defenders on the e8 square, and we won't be able to attack. I'll take away the lines. I don't like the streamers using lines as much, except for that really immediate moment. I've accidentally left the lines on. Eduardo Galindo has found the move that I always thought was the correct move. Is there another idea that is very similar? So when I was 1300, and then I saw this game for the first time around 13 or 1400, yeah, but you might be too strong, Chess2Kudo. If you do know this game already, then we're letting the others in the chat do it. I appreciate it, though, Chess2Kudo. So queen takes f7 is a little extreme, but now, believe it or not, it's black to move and win. Black to move and win. Candidates for black. Well, I give Chess2Kudo a shout out. I know he has streamed recently. I don't think I have a shortcut for Chess2Kudo, which I'm going to make now. Control C this one. Let's add a command. I'm going to call you CK. You. Now, how do I get? I think I have to use TwitchCon emotes, right? I do. I think I have to use Twitch emotes. It was easy. Oh no!
But I'm going to wear it on.
No, these were my glasses. They can't be fixed anymore. Not cool. Maybe they can be fixed. I'm not sure. That's interesting. Where did they come apart, Bobby? The screw is missing. Anakin, where did they come apart? Anakin, come. It's okay. I'm a little disappointed, but I'm not upset. Where did the glasses come apart? Up there? That was where you found them, but when you picked them up, I'm going to put them back for now, but I'm going to look for the screw later, okay? Look to see Mama. Go. I'm not upset. I have backup glasses for a reason. Yep, go ahead. Yes, so Mars. Believe it or not, no, black to move loses, queen takes queen, because we have the same problem with the back rank mate. However, we do have a great example of an X-ray coming up. Here's a very cool example of an X-ray defense. We capture the rook on E2, and now the rook goes to C1, and the wrong person's back rank is actually the command already exists. Oh, I already had the command. There we go. Great minds think similarly over time. And now the X-ray. The knight on E1 is actually attacked 2 times. The thing is that the rook on E8 is X-raying through to the knight on E1. And now we can see that it's going to be checkmate in the reverse way. And believe it or not, I actually thought that was the solution when we were in this position. When we were in this position as white, I actually thought that was the solution, and I never really looked at it again. I said, of course, queen takes b7 wins, but I never looked at it again. And this is one of the reasons why I never became a grandmaster. Yep. Tapas New, good morning. I thought it was going to be TC, my command. For those of you just coming in with Tapas New, I am FIDE trader, National Master John MacArthur. I've been teaching chess for almost 40 years, despite the fact that I'm only 39 years old. Cheers to being 39. So interestingly enough, the move that wins here needs a T on the instruction. Oh no, thank you so much. I'm gonna get it here too. It's good that I didn't put it on the other one. How are you, Tapas New? What are you up to today? I know that you are probably not celebrating Thanksgiving, but it is a holiday that is truly one of the great holidays in the United States. So the other day I got into a very, very thoughtful moment about why chess, and this is for I know he snuck up on me, Eduardo. Namaste. So it's white to move and win again, by the way. But oops. But what do we have? White to move, queen takes a5, the queen, we actually, I don't know if we can win anymore after that. That's interesting. So queen takes a5, looks like it should do the same thing, but the queen can go back to d7. So I'm just gonna visualize this for a moment. Queen takes a5, queen to d7. Queen back to b7, queen back to b5. I mean c7, queen back to b5. Now, is it still winning? That is the question. I think it's still winning after that. I just want to see this. Queen takes a5, queen to d7, queen back to c7, queen to a5, white to move and win. Yeah, queen takes c6 runs into the unfortunate queen takes c6. Kadeja Waheyo. Yeah, I know, I'm in blasting sunlight because this is a late stream for me. Yeah, queen takes c6, unfortunately. Well, actually, you know what? Queen to c6 now would probably win. Or would it? Hold on here, I have to think about this one. You're right, Edward Galindo. We have two pawns. So does queen takes a5 win in a much longer route? I think so. I don't want to click on the engine because I know the correct move. The correct move is even faster. Elmars is in Melbourne. Not too far away, just a time zone or two. I believe you're 2 time zones away, maybe 3. It's like the United States. When I told Jessie February this morning, she was commenting on how she couldn't believe the United States had 3 separate time zones from Eastern time. We actually have 4 time zones. We've got Rocky Mountain time as well. But we don't use Rocky Mountain time as such a great separator. And then I told her that Australia has 3 time zones. And she's like, whoa. No, this time. Oh, let's take a look at that. Queen takes e2 no longer works, though, because it's not two. Is it two rooks for the queen? Because the back rank is still weak. We cannot take on e2 because of queen a8 check. Got the same problem on the back rank. So we can't take the second rook. And the x-ray no longer works. So yeah, queen takes e2. That's why I liked queen to a5 in the first place. Queen takes a5 must be the second best move in the position. I have never actually looked much farther than the first move. And you are right that we're 2 pawns up. That's a longer-winded way of winning this. Don't check on c1. Oh. You could be correct. But then don't we get forked? Oh, we don't get forked. Let's take a look. Chescudo could be right. After queen takes e2, rook takes e2, rook takes. We do have to watch out for being mated. Yeah, black looks better here. Chescudo is absolutely correct. That black is better in this position. I'm going to bring up the link to this study and more. Actually, not yet. Let's do the editing the live stream title the old-fashioned way. Oh, maybe I don't want to do it that way. Alright, we updated the stream title on YouTube. Too complicated for me. Too complicated for you indeed. Yes, the YouTube. Could use a couple more subscribers for this instructional stream. Unfortunately, I don't do the chat on YouTube as much, unfortunately. I can only apologize on that front. Yeah, this is better for black. No doubt about it. Yeah, black is the one with the 2 rooks, very strong. Pawns falling, back rank can be saved. White's got the weak back rank, it's trouble. So we have to move backwards to, thankfully, this position with candidate moves for white. Knight on d2 to f, knight to d2, knight to f1. Now it's just too much. Knight to d2, rook to c1 check, knight to f1, and then g6 by black to probably keep the back rank okay in that position back there. So what to do here? White to move. Candidates for white. Yeah, we're going to lose our pawns on the second rank to the 2 rooks, and then we'll be in trouble. You take, it's given.
Tell me now, you know. Not really sure how to feel about it. Something
Bishop takes b2 in that position also after knight to d2 would be kind of fatal. Bishop takes b2 and bishop c3 is the threatened fork. That could be trouble. Without rook to c1, check, knight to c1, and g6. Just curing the back rank. So white to move in this position. Ah, he sees b3. No nonsense. Sees the move b3, but it's not the first nor the last move in this position. Believe it or not, b3 is the slow way of approaching this idea because queen takes rook, rook takes rook. There's no back rank weakness yet because the queen on c7 is blocking. It's blocking. So how are we going to do it? We have a very blue stream here. I need a holiday stream background. Could be time. Now that Thanksgiving is behind us, I'm going to go with the Christmas layout. Shopping now for the Christmas stream layout, the holiday stream layout. Maybe I can get an Honor Majesty Secret Service layout. Yeah, you are playing white, Master. Indeed. So the move that everybody is missing, because we're not going to hold everybody back, is a4. And a4 is so deserving because a queen takes a4. And now candidate moves for white. This is the key. Yeah, I didn't know this when I was 1300, but I knew it when I was 1800. When I was 1800, I saw the problem with queen takes b7 immediately. When I was 1300, I saw queen takes b7. I said, oh, of course, that's the answer. And I never looked at the exercise again until I wanted to become a master. And I went to the book, which is a great series, by the way. I'm going to bring several of them with me. In fact, I should finish this book. I'll bring all of them because they're all so good. This is a plug for my sponsor by accident. There have been 6 editions of this, by the way. 6 editions. Craziness that there have been 6 editions of this. So, this book has 1,800 exercises. I have made money on this book, as I sold it once in the Manhattan Chess Club, when the Manhattan Chess Club existed, at Carnegie Hall. I think I sold this book for $50 in 1980, 1999, maybe $60. I don't remember if it was 50 or 60. My good friend and current billionaire, Boaz Weinstein, was a kid. He came to the club. Boaz Weinstein overheard me willing to sell this book to Larry, who is a regular in the club, who shall remain nameless for his second name, even though he's no longer with us. Rest his soul. So Larry, of course, was going to buy this book from me for what I paid for it, which was $25. And Boaz said that he would give me $30 for it. So Larry, of course, offers me $40, and I believe Boaz offered me $50 for it. And then Larry offers $60, I believe. That was the final count. Now that I've recounted the story, I remember what the amount was. And Boaz goes, "You've got me. That's all I can do." And so then Larry pays me $60 for this book, and then Boaz and I go to the Carnegie Deli, famous place that Bobby Fischer and Asa Hoffman and all the old timers used to go to, the Carnegie Deli on 55th and 7th Avenue. And I treat Boaz to lunch. You know, we have a nice, large Carnegie Deli sandwich with all the pickles, the coleslaw, and the usual New York accoutrements for a deli. Thanks to this book, Boaz and I had a great lunch, and I treated because he told me there was no way I was going to give you any money for that book. I just wanted to jump the bid up. So this book has 1,800 exercises, and I did the first, might have more than 1,800, but I did the first 900. I definitely did the first 900 exercises. I did the first half of this book, and I flew up to Candidate Master Strength by doing this book. And years later, they came out with a second edition, which unfortunately they ruined a little bit. This is the same edition, but updated with exercises. This is Chess Informant. It's a Chess Informant product, by the way, called the Encyclopedia of Chess Middle Games. You can find it at that address that I just posted in. Chess Informant product. Chess Noah. Thank you so much, buddy. Namaste. Let's pause the music for a moment as I give Chess Noah his deserving shout out. Whoops. Welcome, Raiders. The young Chess Noah is a very hard worker, and he's going to achieve great heights in chess. The hard part for us as streamers is that it's extremely difficult to study chess on your own, so we are studying here. We're looking at this position with white to move and win. I am FIDE trainer and national master John MacArthur. I'm going to give my about. Usually I give my experience. But we're talking about exercises. So when I first saw the position that's in this, that we're looking at now, I saw it in this particular book, which has a great index. I could probably find it. And I thought when I first saw it when I was 1,300 in another book that I knew the answer, by the way, and I did not see the answer. The answer that we were talking about, Raiders, is that in this position I had thought when I was 1,300 that queen takes b7 was the correct answer, and I never looked at it ever again because I could only see one variation, just like when we're very low in strength. This is what we would exactly see. So white to move wins, right? Well, we didn't look at our opponent's best move, which unfortunately develops into an X-ray, and then the rook on e8 is actually attacking through the rook on e2. Thank you for the follow. Namaste. Atipik New Mood. Nice to see you. If anyone knows the name, the privilege is yours. No, it is a privilege having all of you here. Please follow if you can. We're working on 2K followers. We're at 1.9. Jessie February, by the way, was my exact 1900th follower, which was very cool of her. When she gave me a shout out, she actually followed, and she became my 1900th follower. We've developed a few since then. And as it turns out, this book, the Encyclopedia of Chess Middle Games, unfortunately, it's a shameless plug for my sponsor. I have a much better sponsorship deal, apparently, than Alexandra Semiganova has with Forward Chess. And I don't think she's plugging them all the time like I am, though. But Chess Informant has been around since 1966. It is what Bobby Fischer and all the world champions have used to this day to update their databases and study from. So this combination Encyclopedia Chess Middle Games should be the Encyclopedia Puzzles. They came out with a second edition, which was unfortunately by piece, like the Polgar book, all the knight moves that are strong moves. And then they came out with a third edition, or a fourth edition, the third edition, which somewhat corrected the piece movements, I believe. Practical examples. Yes, and they broke it up into levels. 1 star, 2 star, the greater the number of stars, the harder the exercise. And I think that's where they are today, as the latest one is the 6th edition. And I'm really sorry that I had Magnus. You can see that I use this one for instruction, actually, because I have post-it notes and bookmarks in here. But you can get a downloaded version, I think, on the Chess Informant website. So you can actually get an interactive edition of this. And the thing that I like about it, you like the English opening too much? Well, then you play the Sicilian as black, the accelerated traffic. Oh, yeah, you were there for that. If I could get her to not play the English opening for about 1 year, she will gain countless amounts of strength. She needs to wax on and wax off in her openings. So this is the 6th edition. Magnus Carlsen signed my 5th edition. If you see that photo on my main page, I have a bee in my room. That's crazy. There's an actual bee in my room. Jessica? Jessica? Close my door. I have a bee in my room. So, as it turns out, I don't know how I'm going to kill him yet. Right now, he's not bothering anybody. He's just sharpening his stinger. Someone has a window open because we're cooking downstairs. And when we cook, we have to open the window, otherwise it sets the fire alarm off. When you're doing a lot of cooking, let's just say. Steaks, burgers, forget about it. You got to open the window in the kitchen, and the window is just diametrically opposite in the living room. So as it turns out, I wish I could let you out, but I can't get to my window with the blinds drawn. So where are we? We're in this position here, and as it turns out, as I learned from that book,
Yep.
Chess Informant, yeah, I've got a bee in the window. Do we have raid or anything? Insect?
Oh, no.
Can you-
Don't kill it if it's a bee, though.
I don't want to kill it if it's a bee. It's behind my drapes at the
We
moment.
can't just open the window and hope he goes out.
I know, but I don't want to move the blinds because it might perturb him.
He's not going to sting you.
I don't think he's going to sting me either, but I just don't want to bother him.
I know. Don't kill him, though. We need our bees.
We need our bees, exactly. Al Morrison in Melbourne agrees with you. So, white to move. And now this is where everything hits the fan. For the most part, everybody. This is where everyone hits the fan. White to move. And I am about to give this link to all of the best known lesson games in the Discord. If anyone wishes to join the Discord or see the previous instructive streams on YouTube, that's also a possibility. Now I can finally see the shadow of him on the other side of the blinds. This is fine. Meanwhile, Queen takes b7, b to b3. Now we need something a little faster than that. Ironically, we need something faster than that. I'm only going to give this 1 more minute. Someone will find the answer because of the overloaded nature of the black position. Where are you, Savas, when I need you? Savas was finding these moves, and I think he should be able to find this one if he found Queen to c4. But Queen takes a5 does not necessarily win a pawn, or does it? Yeah, the Queen goes back to d7, and we don't actually get anything. Indeed. But I don't like my students to lose, so there's the #1 problem with this. From the Amazon wish list, by the way, I want to thank MD Knight Zero. He sent 4 Bobby Fischer books. I'm going to be doing 5 Bobby Fischer books for the remainder of the year, I believe. We have Bobby Fischer Explained and Some Stories by Zenon Franco. We have The Unstoppable American that MD Knight Zero also sent from the Amazon wish list. And we have Fischer in Cuba, Volume 1. which is quite crazy. 10 years of Close Encounters, which I started reading. It's fascinating. I did not know how much interaction other than the original Havana 1966 event. And then we have the most amazing book by my good friend John Donaldson, which I was holding out and getting this book until John Donaldson gave it to me, or autographed it for me and gave me a copy, because he and I are good friends. He's the captain of the Olympiad team, and he is a very great man in American chess as far as coaches and trainers for our Olympiad teams and World Cup teams. I believe he was in the World Cup with Hans Niemann and everyone recently. So here, Bobby Fischer and His World, another amazing read with photographs. He's an amazing researcher. Highly recommended book. Done by New in Chess, I believe. Actually, one of them, The Unstoppable American, is New in Chess, and this one is Silman. Jeremy Silman published this one. Yes, indeed. I agree with you. Brazil is so brutal. And also, when I was ordering from Canada, let's just say I was inspired. This Amazon wish list has benefited me far more than it's benefited A.K.A. Nemsko, at least in my personal, because I have sent her gifts for the holidays / her birthday. I haven't sent her a housewarming gift, but she also has an Amazon wish list. Now, Queen to C4, awesome. I love that move, Super 3. Our time is up, but the move actually is Rook to E4. And now the Queen has nowhere to go. The first things first that you need to see is that the X-ray attack still works. Because after Rook takes E4, Queen takes C8, Queen takes C8, we get to see that this Rook is traveling through to the Queen on E8. And when we capture, on E8, you can see how that Queen is defended by the Rook on E1. Did Cheskudo already get this move? Rook to E4. Yes, he did. And lastly, so on Queen to B5, remember the 1800 me going on to become a master did not see A4. I did not see this slightly deeper move, but if the Queen goes back to B5, then we have Queen takes B7, and now the Queen has nowhere to go, and the game is over. No, this is actually a very good game to try to ingest, okay? So, for example, in our studies, and I will put this one in, my studies, I have to do this. Best. I believe it's this one that's public. I put this one in the Discord. I'll put it in the Discord again right now. Under, let's see, World Championship study links. Oh, what happened here? Best known lesson games. Review carefully. They're used by a lot of players over the history of time, including Morphy versus the Duke, Rosanes versus Anderson. I don't think Le Gaull's Mate is in here, but it should be. I should do a lesson games 2. I should do a lesson games 2. But getting back to Elmar's games, because we were studying Elmar's games all the way back. Let's promote this variation. Actually, we'll make this with the main line for just one moment. And then we'll get to Elmar's game, which I believe he played knight to c3 for no reason. And the reason why I say no reason is because this move is not purposeful enough. The idea that you are playing against another person, you are throwing ideas at your opponent, and they're throwing ideas in their defense back. Just simply defending is not enough. In that last game, we saw overloading and counterattacking and back rank threats and in-between moves and removing defenders, taking advantage of pins. We saw a relative pin in that game. We saw an absolute pin in that game. And in this particular case, knight to c3 is not good enough. So Elmar's continues with bishop to b5 check. This brings us to the second rule, by the way. Don't place your bishop where it can be bothered by pawns. And in this sense, if your opponent can bother your bishop with a pawn, perhaps it's not a good move. So we have to wait with it. We have to develop our pieces in the order of the values. So for example, if a pawn is worth 1, knights and bishops are worth 3, rook's worth 5, queen is worth 9, the queen may or may not be the last piece to be moved and developed. Once again, we're going to continue to develop our pawns, knights, bishops, get our king castle, which will be a rook move as well, and then placing our queen. Is there a cue for analysis, or is it only students? It was for Elmars who started this at the moment. Chesskudo has a number of really good games as well that we actually have a Chesskudo study, I believe, that he shared with us at whatever moment. So in general, I would say don't place bishops where they can be. You have to bring them out in the order in which they're developed. So you won this game, and here's another problem with this game, right? The fact that it's bullet means that I actually get to see a little bit better into your soul for your instinctive moves. Your instinctive moves are what need to be corrected. So we're working on your instincts, and we're trying to improve your immediate thought process so that your automatic decision-making will be much better. And some people think, oh, I can't play that slowly. I don't want to play that slowly. Or, I'm sorry, I don't want to play that fast. I have to play slowly. Well, I'll tell you what, you can think for 15 minutes and play a bad move. Or you can think for 30 seconds and play a bad move and learn from it. So that is a tough call. Never learned chess. That's okay. No, these were very good points. What you are doing is extremely good. So your opponent has actually helped you out with that last pawn move, because now the bishop is on a protected square, attacking a square that's only defended by the king, and this square is now a little bit in the lurch because the only thing protecting it is the king. And if he hesitates, knight to g5, knight takes f7, it's going to be lethal. Your opponent does not see the threat, and you leapt upon it. Nice move. I would love to give this 2 exclamation marks. In a heartbeat, 2 exclamation marks. Because basically you've now gone toward the heart of his soul, and he has no way of defending. This pawn is attacked once, twice, 3 times, and it's only defended 2 times. So herein lies the tale. The unfortunate part is that our knight on g5 is also not protected. So after the pawn captures, should he have captured back with the knight, we would have had a little bit of a problem. Because we have to worry about our knight first and foremost, and then recapturing on d5. But because he captured back with a pawn, we actually get to attack a rook at the end. Actually, I think you had it the whole time, right? Chesskudo. Knight to g5 still works, because we also have knight to c7 check and knight to a8 at the end of the other line. So let's just say that if he captured with the knight, and we capture back with our knight, we're still threatening the c7 square, and queen takes g5, let's go of that square. Yep, I'm right behind you there, Knight Chesskudo. Even though you may have had the thought before me and typed it after me, I know that I was right behind you in that. And of course, the bishop is attacking the rook straight away and defending g2 as well. So there's no loss of knight on that one either. So knight to g5 worked really well. We now win material for sure. Our opponent avoids more than the loss of a pawn. So what can we do in this particular position, right? I believe you played the correct move. You ruined his pawn structure. You gave him doubled, central, isolated E pawns. Because these two pawns are on the E file, which is also an open file, it will be perfect to keep attacking them. And then we may or may not have blundered. I'm not looking at this with the engine, by the way. But we may or may not have blundered because after knight takes f6, they gained a little bit of time here with queen takes f6. With the e6 pawn is still hanging. Queen is coming into h5. Everything looks good. White is clearly better here. If I had to put a number on this, I would say that white is very close to 2.x ahead. Not quite a full piece ahead in this position, but that. Let's take a quick peek. Wow, 5 points ahead. Insane. You're up a rook here. Is it that how much it values king's safety? That's craziness. Right? So bishop to d6, black to move, and we're up 5 points of material. Pawns are dropping. Yeah, but it's not so much about the pawns. We have the bishop pair, we have the safer king, and we do have, as Chescudo pointed out, in this very position, we have queen to g4 pinpointing and targeting the weakness on e6 2 times. He's not getting castled anytime soon. In this position, his best bet probably was knight to d7, knight to c5. God help him that actually would have worked. Right? So knight takes, queen takes, castles. We have to try to bring all of our pieces out with a purpose, Elmars. So the only other purpose, the next most purposeful move might be to bother that pawn and try to get the rook in the game before his king can get out of the center. You chose c4, which is very interesting. It does attack a weakness. It is attacking a weak pawn. You are threatening to keep him from getting castled. But after this, I would have played check. I would have probably checked rather than taken the free pawn, just to keep his king in the center. This pawn on c4 you'll pick up at any time, I believe. And also, you have so many weaknesses on the black side of this game that I think that keeping his king in the center is even better. Let's check our analysis here. Bishop a4 check seems to be on top. We're not a full rook up anymore, but you're still very close to that with bishop takes c4. Notice that I don't use the analysis to guide me. I only really want to see what's going on in this position from the other perspective. Now there's a very weak square on b7. Should we get our queen to that square, this knight will not be able to survive. The rook is trapped. Because the rook is trapped, the knight will have to move, and the queen on b7 will be picking off a knight on any of the developing squares. So I'm hoping that your next move, which it was not, was queen to b3, going straight in for the gusto. So if he deals with this threat, then we actually win more material because the knight is trapped. Right? So as it turns out, hold on here, let's reboot the music a little bit. And turn down the volume on the desktop, just so that it's in the background and not too loud. No way close. That's all right. You're trying to improve your stuff, right? So after d3, bishop to c5, we now have several pieces attacking f2. He's not getting away with this, though, by the way, because I think you can just step aside. If he should so much as think about this, we will thank him for his service. Because now we have the pin that we were talking about that started this entire lesson, or this entire training instruction. So I probably would have just stepped away from it. because he can't capture on f2. Is there a way for him to capture on f2 at all? This is guarded. Oh, we're capturing a free pawn with check, and we're capturing a full rook as well. Or an exchange as well, so there's no way he's getting away from this. The trap piece is a very, very large threat. Yeah, the very large threat of capturing the trapped rook. In any event. So on bishop to c5, Elmars did find the correct move because it's forceful, purposeful, it's bringing this bishop in, it's bringing the other rook across. And after bishop takes f2, our only mistake we have to avoid is the chess.com mate. Queen takes, and then queen to f1 mate. So he steps away, the bishop is trapped, pawn on e6 is hanging, there's no way to guard it. And you kept on developing with pressure. You're doing great, Elmars. This is the way to go. Check. And now we have one more fork. And lights out for our opponent. He's forced to trade queens, which loses even more material. This is the only move that saves the rook, counterattacking as best he can. So we have a choice in this position. We can capture and let this queen capture back. We can capture queen and remove the defender of the bishop on f2. But interestingly enough, we also have, in this particular position, the move that Chescudo just suggested last, or we could have it first. Chescudo wants to overwork the daylights out of him. Nicely done, sir. I do believe that Chescudo is a bit stronger than me in strength. Absolutely. I'm not sure how much stronger. Whether he's like a couple of levels stronger or just one level stronger than me. The problem is the weakness of the back rank. So we can't actually capture on... You think we're level? I don't know. I don't keep track. But I definitely know that in analysis, almost all Europeans of the same level of me are better. Didn't we already have this one? I have it on shuffle, so it's possible it just came up again randomly. So in any event, he plays rook to e8, loses his queen. And we have an in-between move here if we would like it, but we don't need to play it. Now, there's no guarantee that he's going to give us this bishop. He could play knight a6. So chances are I would have probably gone for the immediate threat of taking the rook for free. Right? So after rook to c1, unfortunately, let's correct our screen here. He could guard it with knight a6, and he does. So we could probably have forced resignation in this position with the move bishop to d5. This I would definitely consider resigning one. Or I might wait until this rook comes in the game, but who knows. So rook, knight to a6. When you see a good move, look for a better one. Rook to c1 is a good move. Bishop d5 might be a better one. So now we're attacking it. And now you're... Oh, I thought you were going to remove the defender. Remove the defender, sir. You chose rook takes c5, knight takes c5. And now why we're guarding, I don't know, because we can keep on moving. Just keep that pawn moving and try to get this one up to assist. And you have a bishop that's going to be helping out. Everyone already knows that this is not possible because of the chess.com mate. What was the queen move? Uh-oh. I didn't know you were gone. This is probably flagging time, exactly. 26 seconds for Elmar's in this position. To his opponent's 14 seconds. Chescudo could be onto something there. So the queen move choices were... That's alright. You'll be able to rewatch the stream and fast forward on YouTube. I believe I have the DVR option available on YouTube for people that want to watch the stream on YouTube. The rook to c, and I just want to see how this game closed out. Oh, and he finally fell for it. And it was the theme that we were going through all along. By the way, the games that we were looking at before Savas was Adams Torrey. Played in New Orleans, 1920. Not the modern Filipino Grandmaster Torrey, but the Mexican Grandmaster Carlos Torrey, who won. I believe he won Moscow 1925. Yep, Adams Torrey. And of course you'll find that one in the best known lesson games in the Discord. Under World Championship study links. Hold on, that's why I opened that. Game study links. There we go. World Champion Game study links. So as it turns out, we're going to go to the next game in Elmar's collection. I'm going to do 3 of them. So he's been playing bullet. I'm going to go to the first non-bullet game. I hope I'm not holding my breath here. Oh, there it was. The first non-bullet game was 3-0 Blitz. Entering e4 with e5, great. Whenever the e5 pawn is not attacked, by the way, we should be answering with knight f6. I repeat, if your e5 pawn is not attacked by white, you should be answering with knight f6 to attack white, assuming the initiative. So, for example, against bishop c4, knight f6 is by far the best move, attacking this and preparing d5. Again, if your e5 pawn is not attacked in this symmetrical position, knight f6 is the shot. Therefore, counterattacking e4 is a really healthy way of going about it. If white had played a move like f4, the simplest answer, of course, might just be d5. Counterattacking. And in this particular example, you can try to keep white from developing his pieces. This is a very simple response. Or, and also because they can't take on e5, this is never really a threat. We're threatening the king, we're threatening the pawn, we're threatening the rook. So they can't block, otherwise they lose a rook. And lastly, against knight c3, which I played quite a bit of, then knight f6, and when they play f4, once again, you can play d5. Attack is the best defense. Attack, attack, attack. I need to turn my blind the other way. 1 second. How did it get turned that way? This is ideally the best way to have it. Now I should be okay. Only one line running down my left shoulder here from the blinds. Well, attacking starts with knowing the values of the pieces, and that way, if they attack your pawn, you should attack their knight. If they attack your knight, you would hope to attack their rook. If they attack your rook, you hope to attack their queen. If they attack your queen, I only pray that you can threaten mate in 1, and when they take your queen, you deliver the checkmate in 1. And you say thank you very much. So here, knight to c3, knight to c6. The opponent is not that good. This is the other drawback with younger, less experienced players. We're not learning from our opponents unless you play somebody really, really strong on a regular basis, which is why I suggest that you join the dojo and you get into the regularly scheduled events. Just get into the regularly scheduled events and then use it as a benchmark for yourself on a day-by-day basis. You do better today than you did yesterday. Hagai is a great example of that. He was in the tournament this morning. He started off much lower rated, and now Hagai is beating a lot of good players, and he's on the podium or very close to the podium on various days. Granted, Hagai is still only about 15 or 1600. He started off much lower. And there are many that just keep applying themselves on a daily basis, and you're in business, to be honest. So, knight f6, bishop e3, and you are placing a bishop that cannot be bothered by pawns unless, if they do, you must be willing to take. And you took over the center with d5. I might have played this move on the previous turn, but I'm happy you played bishop to db4. And now I might throw in an intuition zug here. Oh, hold on. We've got suggestions in the chat because this was analyzed by your opponent, I think. Always do the computer analysis if you get a chance. The more mating patterns you know, absolutely. You can always just learn mating patterns because it improves the coordination of your pieces as well. So if you go to the puzzle dashboard, and then puzzle themes, you can actually go straight to mate in 1 and mate in 2. Copy link address. I don't know if there's such a thing as a good Scandinavian opening. I already knew that I was saying that partly for your humor. There's no such thing as a good Scandinavian opening. In fact, I believe that if you play d5, Stockfish puts it appropriately, you're a pawn down on move 1. And that is true. You're down in time, you're down in space, and chances are you're also going to be behind in king safety. So the 3 big advantages, time, space, and material. You will not disappoint me. I repeat, you will not disappoint me. I only seek that you don't disappoint yourself. Just apply yourself. So for example, when you do go to the mate in 1s, I would suggest going over here and make these the hardest. And once you reach these in the hardest category, you're already taking advantage of a pin in this particular position. Now, I don't gain any rating points for this, even if I do put them on the hardest level. So, if you see me having gained 4 rating points, and I've done 120 puzzles, and I've gained 4 rating points, chances are I was doing mate in 1s with students. But I haven't gained any rating points recently, so this might be easier. Elmar is checkmate in 1. There are only 3 candidate move checks. We've got a pawn check, a rook check, and a rook check. Rook h6 is the correct move because of the pin. And once again, I did not gain any rating points for that. Let's see if I can gain it 1 point out of 2 of these. Checkmate in 1. Time for a pint. It's a little early in the day for me, but I will definitely join you. Did anyone see Japan beat Germany yesterday? My God. Crazy game. Germany scored about 30-ish minutes into the game. They were up 1-0, and I'm thinking I could be studying chess instead of watching this game. Oh yeah, the Argentina-Saudi Arabia loss was even worse. All right, Chescudo, hold on. Let's give him a CK, a complimentary CK. Love it. Not just a nice guy from the Netherlands. I think I have to reword that English on that one. So in this particular position, checkmate in 1. First person to answer it, go. There's only 2 checks in this position. One of them is mate. So our candidate move up process is already in place here. Looking for checks. Checks, threats, and captures. This is the best place to start. Yes, indeed. Queen h8 mate. Thank you, Chescudo. I'm glad that Chescudo is not answering, because this is for the other guys. But yeah, the Scandinavian's okay. I like to gambit white more space and time by playing the Sicilian. If I were to play the Sicilian, now you're gambiting white space and time. You don't need to know any openings, by the way, Savas, in order to play this. I go against your beliefs. I mean, if you're going to play with a handicap, you should just give your opponent pawn odds. Play without your f7 pawn. That's the same as playing with the Scandinavian. But let's do a Scandinavian study one of these days. Let's see if Black can redeem themselves in any of the lines. No, I didn't say it's shite. All of the openings work. No. I apologize if that's what you came out of that with. There are still people that think the London is terrible, a terrible opening for white. And I do believe that it's a terrible opening for learning chess. Basically, if you play the same moves over and over again, I had students that were trying to break the habit of playing the Queen's, playing the London. But every time they didn't know what to do, they put a bishop on f4. So if you can imagine, you're in a position, you don't know what else to do, so you put a bishop on f4. Yeah, for a novice player, I think that you should learn to grip the center with e4, e5, and learn to counterattack and attack, and just try to, it's like wrestling or Aikido. Basically, you have to learn the interactive movements and be able to be aware of what's going on. And that way you won't be in a set pattern of movements. Bring your queen out to d5, moving your queen back to d8, or bring your queen out to a5 and moving it to a5 or d6 every single game. Or bring your knight out to f6. And that also gives you a tricky thing, because now you have to move the same piece twice in the opening. The Queen's Gambit is basically an extensive trying to remove the defenders of the center opening. Basically the whole time. Attacking, pushing, building. If I get stung by this bee on stream, all of our perceptions will get to be erased about bees, because he has already thumped into me twice. He just thumped into me going that way, and now he's on the outside of the blind. I think he's getting very upset that he cannot go outside. And if I'd have known that he wasn't in the blind, if I'd have known that he flew back there, I probably would have lifted the blind and opened the window in the screen just to let him go out. If you leave that blind, sir, Mr. B, I will let you out. The King's Indian has similar problems to the London for novice players, because as a novice player, you tend to put your pieces on the same squares. I like openings that give you a lot of versatility in the placement of your pieces. It's true that they are far more challenging, and you will lose a lot more, but you will also win a lot more in the long run. So, for example, the King's Indian, he was not wrong. Thank you. No, the King's Indian, the London, and these stayed openings are really problematic. Because if you play these openings, you're playing to win at chess, not learn chess. So the Scandinavian gets you the same positions over and over again so that you can try to bring home the point. The London gets you the same positions over and over again so you can try to attack and bring home the point. You're basically trying to keep yourself from learning the plethora of concepts that are available to you by playing the same first 5 opening moves all the time. And you don't really want to do that. You want to wax on and wax off as much as you possibly can in a variety of areas. Like I said, when you're playing online, this is your chance to play everything. You might have those openings for you that you can study, maybe if you play in a very serious arena. So here's the story. We have the dojo Monday through Friday, and we have blitz and we have rapid. So if you were to play anything at all you wanted to play in blitz, just to get the experience and the eye-openers, and then on the weekends you play in the rapid, where it's a slower time control, now you have the chance to, in 2 tournaments a week out of 7, let's just say if you're able to hit every single day, you have the chance to apply your opening repertoire, and then you have the time to step away from your opening repertoire. So very often, let's just say in bullet, I have a bullet opening repertoire that is different from my over-the-board repertoire. If I try to play everything under the sun and not know where I'm going in a bullet game, guess what? I'm probably just going to lose every bullet game, and this has happened. But if I have a specific set of opening moves that get me to a middle game that I know better than my opponent, then in a bullet tournament, you've got it. But in a rapid game, I like to stretch myself, and I play a variety of openings even in the rapid game because I don't want you as viewers to see the same openings over and over again. Imagine if I were a streamer who only played the London every single time as white. Every time you saw me play, you would only be learning the London. Not only that, you'd be only learning the bad London that I would play. Meanwhile, this is taking advantage of a pin, and I did gain 1 rating point. Only because my rapid rating is, my puzzle rating is so low. I lost about 150 rating points because I was very close to or over 2,500 at one point not long ago. I was doing these in a class. I was doing these in a classroom, and I also had people coming up to the board making moves rather than thinking. So far, the 2 hardest ones that they gave us were both taking advantage of pins. Is this one also taking advantage of a pin? No, it is a backwards mate. You have to see that the only square that the king can move to is f5. We don't have any way of getting a bishop to a white square to checkmate. So, for example, if the d6 square were covered, then bishop to f5 would be the job, but unfortunately we only have the knight to cover the escape square and that one. We're not gaining any more rating points. Let's go back to Elmar's game. Oh. So in this particular position, Elmar's took on c3 with check, which was a mistake. The ideal move that we should have played in this particular move was knight takes e3, just to ruin his pawn structure some more. And then we can probably try to weaken his pawn structure in the center even more with bishop to c5. Instead, we played... Now, your knight on the 4th rank is more valuable than his knight on e2. Let's think about this again. For all of you, this might be a review. but a knight on the 3rd rank is worth a knight. We know the bishops are a little more valuable than the bishops are a little more valuable than the knights, and the center pawns are actually a little bit more valuable than the side pawns at the beginning of the game. The same amount that a knight's better than a bishop. 2 center pawns, very worthwhile. 1 center pawn, forget about it. The reason why the Scandinavian gives up material right off the bat is because you literally exchange off a valuable fighting for the center pawn, and the opponent gets to take over the center with a center pawn, and we're already down with a space advantage, and we're already down with a time advantage, and we're in trouble. So as it turns out, we're giving up a knight that is worth a bishop. I repeat, a knight on the 3rd rank is worth a knight, a knight on the 4th rank is worth a bishop, a knight on the 5th rank is worth more than a bishop, and a knight on the 6th rank is one that comes very close to the value of a rook. A knight outposted on the 6th rank could be worth as much as, or bothersome to, a rook. Oh, this is a beautiful one. I should have this one in the stream more often. But can I hear it? I don't know. Yes, we're going to add it anyway. So what's going on? Is my earpiece out? Let's just find out if that's it. Let's see if that was it. Ready? And where's the sound going? My desktop audio seems to be off. Oh, it's up. Good. So here, yeah, we don't want to give away a knight that's worth more than another knight. And this knight on e2 is tied down and redundant. Without the knight on c3 getting exchanged, the knight on e2 has no value. These 2 knights are redundant knights. It's a coined term by Grandmaster Alex Yermolinsky. Turned up my YouTube volume a little bit. So we gave away our very strong centrally posted knight. They did not straighten up their pawns at all. And this move I'd almost say is dubious as well. I'd rather return to the center to be able to come back to this diagonal. But you're tying down the knight, so that speaks for itself. And if I were to choose a move here, I would say that you have to probably keep the pressure by increasing the center here. Notice the evaluation bar didn't flinch, but when we play this, white became a little bit better because now they get to gain time by outposting their knight, possibly for greater things. And now we've given that knight on g3 one of our bishops. He didn't take it. And he's now trying to seek to exchange off his bishop for that one. Now we win this game as black, reminded me. No worries. You should not feel embarrassed. You should not feel embarrassed. Now this is a problem though, because that pawn is not guarded. The good news is you have a lot of pressure, and he should have actually gained time by improving his knight. Remember, a knight on the 3rd rank is worth a knight. And a knight on the 4th rank is worth a bishop. So you get your pawn back that you were down, but your opponent did not find the fastest developing move, perhaps with queen to d5 check, followed by getting the rooks in. Not sure if this was really such a great concept. Maybe queen to d3 is also good to gain time, bring another center pawn in, give him fewer pawn islands. Right now you have 2 pawn islands. An island of 3 and an island of 3, and he has 3 pawn islands. An island of 4 and 2 isolated pawns. So queen to g4, what does that really do? You took a pawn? Let's see if we can figure out what they thought was the best move here. I don't know if I could say that, but I think queen to a5 leads to less returning of material because of rook to b1 check. Rook to b1, and the rook is very active on this square. So we can see that the bar is there, and if we played this move, then black has a lot of counterplay. You also had a really cool move here. Too strong. You have another strong move here. It looks like you might just be able to play rook takes f2 straight away. Did Chesskudo already suggest that? I expect that from Chesskudo, to give the best move when we're least expecting it. Srideep, good morning. Yeah, I didn't see it right away. I saw it only afterwards. I forgot that the F file was open. In general, though, we want to capture toward the center with our pawns. And that way we might have fewer pawn islands. So if we could put this pawn... I can't even imagine if they'd had this... If we could put this pawn on F5, we'll have a very strong pawn center. But needless to say, this has happened. Takes, and we missed a chance to grab another pawn. This is just like before, because we get to escape. I think I'm going to switch over to the other soundtrack. What do you think? Yeah, that's true. I was definitely eyeballing that, even though I didn't mention it. Have to watch out for any funny business, any funny business on the back rank, just in case there's a possible mate. But it looks like we're fine. The queen to b3. You bothered his queen. The open file would be better. You could also start going after that pawn on a2. You could also start going after the pawn on a3. You could also just move your pawn 2 squares, I believe. But we're really worried about, it appears perhaps, losing the b7 pawn to a skewer. So this would have kept the status quo. Notice the eval bar didn't move, whereas this move probably would have stepped the status quo. This move unfortunately gave white a bit more of an edge than we wanted him to have. Silly me. I traded the queen like a rook, and Chesskudo is there to keep us honest. We just lose a queen after rook takes c2. Botez Gambit accepted by Chesskudo. I saw that remark in the chat and I'm like, wait a minute now. It's absolutely right. So how did you win this game? You managed to improve your pieces, and we are in trouble on the back rank, but we don't have enough counterplay over here, perhaps. It's a little too far back, you'd think, right? You can actually save this pawn from being taken by centralizing your queen and keeping that rook on A1 tagged. And then we have more attackers to try to come in after F2. So yeah, queen to F7 just gives up a pawn, and he doesn't count. He should just take this pawn, and white is better. But this pawn is defended 2 times and only attacked 2 times. I just downloaded, not that you didn't ask me, but I just downloaded Chess Base 17 the other day, and I am going to do a Chess Base 17 study stream. I am planning on doing a Chess Base 17 study stream. Chess Base 365 Lite. Chess 365. What is Chess 365? All right, we'll stop. We'll stop, Elmars. After this game, we'll stop. But I'm only doing the ones that you win, so you're doing well. And now we finally got him. And this is not necessarily the best way to go about it. Now, how do we extract ourselves from this mess? How do we extract ourselves from this mess? It looks like we might be able to play queen to c4, rook takes, king takes, and queen to d4 check. And in that manner, we'll be attacking whatever's on that square and the rook as well. By moving our queen from c4 to d4. Or we can triple. And now you actually might be threatening, and you absolutely are threatening. Thank you very much. He had no way out of that, by the way. Even if he tried to run with his queen, you had it. Was drunk when I played. I wish I had that excuse when I play badly. South Korea drew with Uruguay. Well, they would die if they don't. I think Uruguay saved South Korea. Oh, actually, it's North Korea that dies. There we go, Chess Kudo. Absolutely. So, meanwhile, make this a true study stream. I'm going to go with best lesson games that I shared in the chat. Let's go to the study. Lead Chess Study. Oh no, we're still stuck on The Art of the Sacrifice by Rudolf Spielmann. Oh no. Alright, I'll tell you what I will do. I'm going to replace the images of these players as I see fit. How about that?
So me
Uh-oh, what's wrong with this picture? Oh, there it is. I was okay the first time. This is the natural screen size for both me and you. I did not, you are, no, you played really well, Elmars. All right, let's recalibrate. Elmars, you are a good player. I saw it. We are our own worst critics. It's like me telling me to delete every picture that she was ever in because she looks terrible in it. Right? Can you imagine that? Like, we have to delete every picture my youngest daughter is in because she looks terrible in it. And that's not really how it works. At all. At all. And now, where did this picture of Fisher go? I thought I clicked on a picture of Fisher. Oh no, it came up in print pictures? What is up with that? Ah. Grr, I don't want this to ever happen again. Every time I open an image, it comes up in print pictures. You know what I mean? That's not cool. All right, we're going to replace our thingamajiggy with Bobby Fischer. We're going to do a Bobby Fischer study stream, if we can. Back. Pardon me while I look for it really quickly. We have Fisher Origins, and we're going to do, we're about to do what are we going to do here? We're going to do Fisher. The Unstoppable American. And we are going to keep it as a public study. Let me turn this stuff off. And the first game, if I remember it correctly, is Fisher versus Petrosian. And it is in Belgrade, 1970. That's just a guess, by the way. Uh-oh. Well, I have a small problem. Okay, good. The Unstoppable American. I thought I left the book downstairs because I was reading it downstairs. I was correct. Fisher, Petrosian, Belgrade, 1970. The only thing that I can add to that is that it is round one. Come a little closer. Oh no, what happened? I was hoping for a quick skip over the game. My hometown boy, Tal. Are you from Latvia? Elmars is a more common Latvian name now that I think about it. Just kudos, can you untime out Elmars? Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Riga, what a beautiful place. That is high on my list. In fact, I'm writing it down again. Riga, Bhutan. Irina Chan wanted me to visit Bhutan. And hold on, we've not yet done it here. Licha study and player images. Oh, I do not have Fischer here. I'm going to drop those off the screen for just one moment as I add a new source. Let's bring in Fischer real quick. Actually, we're going to do this. We're going to start the game so that you have something to look at. Candidates for white. Thank you so much, Cheskudo. Where were we? This is candidates for white. And there are 3 very popular moves here. Actually, there are 4 very popular moves because one is better than the others. Where is our timer? Put the timer back on. We're going to go with a full 1-minute timer rather than a 2-minute timer. Let's see if I can find Fischer while I'm at it. So here, image source. And it's going to be a brand new image. I want you to stay. 11 Fischer is the one that I'm looking for. This PC, where are my downloads? Darn you. Desktop downloads. Looking for 11. Fischer.
This one's for you and me, living out our dreams. We're all right where we
There we go. We got Fischer as white.
lift my arms out wide. I open my eyes and
We have Petrosian as black.
wanna see
This nation knows you, Houston.
the sky full of lighters.
Thank you, Archie Mage. 101. Nice to meet you, sir. Where are you from, Archie? All right. Are we ready? Uh-oh. Let me make this bigger so I can do the editing of this.
Can't forget when I got that phone call. Her my mama couldn't speak a word. Put up stone walls, didn't understand the problem. Couldn't go on, hated everybody else. Yeah, my anger lasted so long. But at the end of the tunnel, I saw a shine a light. It gripped me by the heart as I grumbled.
There we go.
I tried to take control myself, but
Gotta make it at the 50% mark.
But I was finding lies. I thank the Lord for the way that He had rescued me. He never left my side, and my mama spoke eventually. It's one of many memories that I have inside you, feeling what I'm saying. Put your life
Try to balance out their images so they're not necessarily... Hold on here.
lift my arms out wide. I open my eyes, and now all I wanna
Wow, Petrosian is so much bigger. There we are. That's gonna have to do. Fischer, Petrosian,
Had a dream of blowing up, memorizing music, sing myself to sleep when no one's up. This is
and the stream title.
as I open up, open for the best when I stress, having no income, too much time passing over. I could tell I'm acting older. No more fun and games. Sayonara, Casanova used to love the night.
And in case we want to break this one out later, Fischer, Petrosian,
But am I ever satisfied in the sight for mine? Thought I was supposed to be somebody with a light
Belgrade.
to shine. I have no clue. Tell me, God, what you have in mind. Help me surrender like a vessel.
1970.
One of a kind. Every line that you speak is truth. The only reason why you got me speaking in this booth. Forever grateful, and I do this for the most time.
And this is actually for E takes d5, knight c3, e5, and bishop d3. Super 3 gives us.
This nation knows
Can I please play e5? Why would I want to play e5 in this position? There are 3 worthy possibilities. Believe it or not, I've played all of the moves except for e5 in this position. Just because I don't think of e5 as that easy a move to play. I'll have to lock those images into place. All right, one more time, very quickly. All right, pardon me for one moment as I segregate this from the rest of the stream. Are you ready for this, everybody? Hold on here. Fischer goes there. Hang tight, everybody. One moment.
Hello there.
What can compare to the love of Jesus?
Good morning again, grasshoppers. As we were about to see Fischer, Petrosian, Belgrade 1970. This was a tournament organized by the Yugoslavian chess community to bring together the best of the West versus the Soviet Union at the time. So this is the United States, Bobby Fischer, board 2. And he agreed to play board 2 because he had actually not been playing chess for the previous couple of years. I'm not sure if he played in 1968 other than Vinkovci. F3. Oh, I forgot about F3 in that position as well. All right. And we had started this stream looking at this particular position, E4, C6, D4, D5. Now, there were 2 openings that Bobby Fischer really struggled against, and these are almost queen pawn openings because of the amount of pawn play that's required. So the French defense and the Caro-Kann were a little bit of the bane of Fischer's existence to a small degree because they lead to positions that are not always freely open for piece play. So the Caro-Kann and the French defense definitely require a subtle backdrop of the handling of pawn play. And the pawn play is somewhat important. I need to change our stream title ever so briefly. Let me just do that really quickly. Oh, before I forget. Grab that stream title again before I forget. Did I not have a space in there? Thank you for humoring me, everybody. I apologize for not being completely set up. So as it turns out, did I do that? No, huh? And down here, invalid settings. Check the form. Let's try that one. Nope, doesn't like it. Try that one. There we go. Now we're set with our... Yeah, YouTube didn't like it either. So here we are. Now the 4 moves that I was thinking of, knight to d2, in this order of strength, by the way. Knight to d2, e takes d5, knight to c3, and I believe that f3 is a better move. I believe f3 is a better move than e5, according to Chess Kudo. Superman 92, thank you for the follow. Legend. Can you please play F3? So someone wanted me to play F3. Now the drawback to F3, interestingly enough, is that Black has a ready-made counter-attacking idea here. And all White has to do, for the most part, is just avoid getting into trouble. And I think that Black is doing fine in this line. You just have to watch out for that same idea. Remember the Legal's made idea that we had? With knight takes e5 check, winning the unprotected bishop on g4. So in general, if we avoid this, we will be fine. Oh, I thought I hit the update button. Did it not update? So meanwhile, yeah, so in this particular position, White's best move, of course, is to allow the danger that is. And this position is relatively equal. White has so many pawn weaknesses that it's very difficult to question anything that's going on here, right? And all Black has to do is just keep developing. And this line is very difficult. I would play Chescudo. Oh, you like playing against the F3 line, indeed. Bobby Fischer would never have gone for that back then. It just broke too many rules. So Bobby Fischer did play a memorable game against Max Euwe. In fact, his most memorable game in the Penna Botvinnik attack. And it was quite good, by the way. Quite good. And Bobby Fischer also decided to settle on what would later be known as his most solid performance. He played the exchange variation here against Tigran Petrosian. Now the number one reason why knight to c3 is not as good as knight to d2 is because of an idea by Gurganidze. Gurganidze actually believed in g6. And by placing the pawns on white squares, he's planning on exchanging off the bishop for a knight on f3. And therefore, this knight on c3 does not do as much. So therefore, knight to d2, on the other hand, is supposed to be better. Because now, if the Gurganidze idea is tried, white is just basically a clean pawn up with the latent possibility of playing c3 and deadening that bishop. Getting back to other opening possibilities that I mentioned before, the two center pawns are more valuable than the side pawns. Oh, I'm going to discount this particular song, as it's not one of my favorites. You know what? This could be time for the Lexington Lab Band. Let's switch up our music. All right. Meanwhile, Petrosian did actually choose the exchange variation, and this opening in the United States is excruciatingly popular. I'm not a big fan of it because it doesn't do enough. And even Bobby Fischer's plan here, which was played in this manner, right? We're placing our bishops before our knights, not a problem. And I had completely forgotten about this, honestly. I had completely forgotten about this entire plan. I mean, Black has so many ways to equalize here. Black can play queen to d7. Believe it or not, Black can even play e5 if he wishes in this position. This also is equal. Just e5 is equal for Black. Knight a5 was played by Fischer. Another popular move that is thought to be very useful is the move queen to c8, but it's not quite as good as queen to d7. But the idea is that we won't lose any tempi against knight f3, knight e5. So in any event, bishop to g4, queen to b3. Petrosian chooses an age-old line for equality. And the queen should return to c2, but instead allows this bishop to regroup behind the pawn structure. And now, candidate moves, I would say candidate moves for black, but I'm not going to do that because we're not trying to find the best moves. Candidate moves for white. Rising sun and D. So here we are. Now I don't like e5, by the way, the advanced variation, because it doesn't attack a knight, and I don't believe in fixing the pawn structure for no particular reason. I also don't like wasting a tempo moving the same pawn twice without a purpose. It's all the openings work, getting back to Savas, where he was asking why I thought less of the Scandinavian. Basically, you're giving up a center pawn, you're losing control of the center a little bit for no reason, and you're moving the same piece twice, regardless of whether it's the queen or a knight in the Scandinavian. I just believe in being resolute at the novice level with your opening principles as hardcore as you possibly can. And getting the most out of your game by being flexible, as flexible as you can. Candidates for white in this position, by the way. Candidate moves for white. I'm not going to ask for anything beyond depth here. White is better. How much better is entirely up to you. And this is actually the first game of the book from The Unstoppable American, Bobby Fischer's Road to Reykjavik. You will find this study among the World Champion studies in the Discord when I'm finished with it. I'm going to place it over there now.
Jesse is a friend. Yeah, I know he's been a good friend of mine. Lately something's changed, it ain't hard to define. Jesse's got himself a girl and I wanna make her mine.
And I do have to All right, what do we have here? Jesse is an age-old friend, along with the charade. There couldn't be a reason to change. All right. So there are two threats by black in this particular position. Both can be negated with a little foresight. My daughter is Jessica, yes. My youngest daughter's name is Jessica. Absolute sweetheart. She does play chess. In fact, that is her trophy in the far corner behind me. Well, I don't know which way to look at it. Yeah, this is the best way to look at it. Her large trophy that occupies half the bookcase over there. The New York City Chess Championships. She was willing to let it go when we changed residences, but I said, no, it's going to be an addition to the chess dojo. It does work. It does need to be regrouped. So basically, idea behind black's position is that of a French, and this is Fischer's or Petrosian's idea to either stop white from castling or to target this bishop. So queen to e2 is perhaps the best move in the position. Fischer opted for a4 so that he could bring his knight out to d2 without interfering with the queen's protection of b2. After all, if we do play queen to e2, then this particular pawn could become a little bit of a problematic weakness. So Fischer chose to move a4. Chase the will for better. You were out of control, Elmars. You were very kind. So where were we? In this particular position, I believe, now I'm doing this from scratch, by the way, I believe black played rook to c8, white played knight on b to d2, and then black decided to get his knight back into the game. And here we are once again with candidate moves for white. Candidate moves for white. Try to blast. Always attempt to find moves, even if it's your position or if it's not your position. You're watching Eric Rosen. Try to find his moves before he plays them. Try to find several moves before he plays one. And after the game, it gives you the equipment to ask questions. If you're watching AKA Nemsko, try to find her moves before she plays them. I really dislike the idea of bullet, though. She plays a lot of bullet. It's almost impossible for the viewers to improve comparing themselves to her play because you just don't have enough time to do the candidate move process and compare your moves to her moves. B4 has been suggested, but try to save them and type them all and hit enter at the same time. If you're able to, play all three moves at the same time. What? Sorry. I tell you once more before I get off the floor. A5 castles. So a5 is a pawn sacrifice, so we have to have something in mind if we're going to do that. Castles for white is another sacrifice, so we have to have something in mind for that particular move as well. So far, people have been sacrificing material with white. This is also for Chescudo. I don't mind if Chescudo participates. And I don't mind if he's the last one in, because that's the best way to contribute. Whenever they're giving me free stuff on Twitch, they're never giving me Spider-Man. You know, I might actually do a Spider-Man stream if I could. Bishop to b5 is perhaps the best move of the ones that were suggested. Nah, castles is okay. You only lose a small amount of material that way. Fischer played the move, the best move in the position, queen to b1. Paying attention to black's threat of knight to b4, which I've actually played for and achieved myself many times in positions that are similar to this, especially in London Open, is basically white is playing a London. Believe it or not, Fischer here is playing the London opening, and people should say that Fischer was a lifelong advocate of the London, given that he only played e4 his entire life. It's the same thing with the Smith-Morra Gambit. He never actually played the Smith-Morra Gambit in his life, but they give him as a worthy Fischer does make mistakes. The problem with castles is the knight to b4 concept. It's very awkward. We're going to lose the bishop pair, and this is an extremely valuable bishop. We're not losing a pawn, just like Elmar's game earlier, because of the queen trap and the possibility of the skewer on b7. Right? The possibility. I'm not saying that we have to, that the queen is trapped. I'm saying that there might, rather than playing rook to b1 straight away, we may be able to play something here that will keep us from losing a pawn, and c4 could well be that job, because now we're threatening rook on a to c1 if they're not careful. I.e. bishop e7, thank you very much. Game over. Therefore, just making sure that you're okay on this board. Oh wow, that's great. No matter what I do, it seems to grow the board or shorten the board, so that's good. I'm glad to see that. So meanwhile, Fischer's opponent didn't have this opportunity with knight to b4 because Fischer didn't castle. Instead, Fischer played queen to b1. And I actually thought that Fischer had analyzed this game in his 60 memorable games, but this was 1970, and Fischer's 60 memorable games only goes up to... I'll bring another book in, by the way. Where are you? Fischer Rediscovered is also a really good book. Fischer Rediscovered by Andrew Soltis. Just wanted to see what... I read this game through and through, and I wanted to see what his comments on this particular game were. (1967, 1967, 1968). I'm sorry, Netanya played in Israel in 1968. Vinkovci in 1968. He also played in those two. Then he didn't play for over a year, and he shows up in Belgrade in 1970. There we go. Now we have more than one set of notes to draw upon. And now, Petrosian plays the best move in the position, by the way. Andrew Soltis gives this move a question mark. So here's the story. Taimanov recalled how Fischer showed up for this game a half an hour late. He was a half an hour late, and he was pale as a ghost before he started the game, and the course of the game changed his entire demeanor, and somehow Larry Evans, Grandmaster Larry Evans, mentioned looking at Petrosian's face was completely reassuring. Petrosian looked scared. And now Petrosian makes an uncharacteristically weak move. There are several moves. Sacrificing this pawn on c7 would be better. Gary Kasparov, I think, suggested queen to c7. Others suggested sacrificing the pawn with bishop to d6, even though white would have played knight to e5. With the latent... Hold on. Music is getting a little bit too loud here. There we go, just a smidge. So as it turns out, this would have been better. But instead, as it turns out, Petrosian plays the rather passive move, h6. f5 was the move that I think Fischer analyzed quite deeply. And the idea behind f5 is to stop all these attacks and to possibly threaten f4. And after moves like g3, bishop to d6, once again, white can try to leap into the position. Black can avoid any trouble. And it would be another type of game, with black being a little bit more assertive than he was in this particular game. Instead, Trojan played the rather weak h6. Bobby Fischer leaps into the center with e5. Notice that he hasn't castled yet. Black has to choose how he's going to react. Now, as it turns out, according to Timon in the book The Unstoppable American, Petrosian had planned on playing knight takes e5, d takes e5, bishop c5, but to his horror, realized that Bobby Fischer had an interesting Zwischenzug in that position. So should we try to find that interesting Zwischenzug in that position? If I had a Fischer game that I would call the best ever game, it would either be Game 6 of 1972, or it would be the 1956 Queen Sacrifice game of Byrne versus Fischer, or the 1965 game, 65 game of Robert Byrne versus Fischer, which was only 20 moves long. So there's Robert Byrne versus Fischer, which took place around 1964-65. And everybody in the analysis room actually thought that Bobby Fischer was in trouble, and then his opponent resigned. Bobby's opponent resigned. Robert Byrne, who I worked with for several years on a chess calendar. He and I were good friends. He lived in Scarsdale, just above Manhattan. And he was the editor for the New York Times until, most recently, Daniel Naroditsky is the latest addition to the New York Times chess column. You can't write that quickly? Oh. All right, Game 6, 1972, Bobby Fischer versus Spassky. Or Byrne versus Fischer, 1956. Or Byrne, Fischer, and I'm going to, oops, did I say the same thing twice? I did. Robert Byrne Fischer, 1964, I think. I could be off on the second game. The 20-move long game. The Byrne Fischer, 1956, and there is a great documentary by HBO Productions. I saw it with Henry Kissinger and a cast of celebrities in the HBO studios, called Bobby Fischer versus the Rest of the World. On HBO. You can't find it on Amazon Prime as a result of it being an HBO production. But if you want to find it elsewhere, you can. Liz Garbus was the director. She was there. I was just happened to be, as a former president of the Marshall Chess Club, I just happened to get invited to HBO Studios to enjoy a pre-screening of this documentary, and it was really, really good. I have done a tall stream. In fact, I did a 5-hour tall stream, maybe even a 24-hour tall stream. I attempted a 24-hour tall, but I couldn't study tall for the entire 24 hours. That was the awkwardness. I would like to redo that 24-hour tall stream someday. But you will find those in the Discord channel. You'll find all of those links to the World Champion studies in the Discord channel. Meanwhile, back at the ranch. Petrosian played the move knight f6, but there was an interesting move here The thing is that he was planning on this particular idea until he saw the Zwischenzug that Fischer has in this position, and it holds true to this day. Candidates? Now, I prefer Bobby Fischer's Grunfeld repertoire as black. If you're going to play an opening as black, modeling or mimicking Fischer, E4 with white and the Grunfeld with black, because everything is relatively forced and fun. No matter what you choose, everything is relatively forced and fun. I'm going to use this 1 minute to go to the restroom. I'll be right back. All right, let's open this window since the sun has gone away. That took me 2 minutes. What? It smells so good out there. Thanksgiving dinner is being cooked. There we go. I have a screen fixing tape that I have to use as well, so I'm going to pop this in while I'm at it to fix the screen. So did anyone find A5? Indeed. A5 is no need to open the window. Well, it's summer where you are, right? Is it summer for all of Australia? My daughter went to Australia. Jessica went to Australia in the summer as a summer vacation from the United States, and she was shocked to find out that it was winter there, which was unfortunate, right? They put up a plot of land next to our house for sale. Just bad weather. December 21st is summer, maybe. Maybe. What did I miss? Superman 92, are you still with us? Kictamaj 101 and Archie Maj. I wonder if these guys are the same Majes. But we're working out well. I want to give Chess Noah another shout out while I'm at it. I'm very thankful that he rated me. For those of you who are still here from that, as we're instructional streaming it up. So meanwhile, yeah, he was actually worried about the move A5, which indeed gives white a clear advantage. So he had to bail out in this particular position. Hakeem Live, how are you, Mon? Great to see you. Hakeem Live, were you the one that won the Jesse February stream? I'm trying to remember. Right before I was able to start streaming, Hakeem Live. Where are you from, Hakeem? I finished in second place. I played an atrocious game against Hakeem. I don't know if we played more than one game. Oh, that is lovely. Malaysia is high on my list. Is there more than one city to visit in Malaysia if I were to visit Malaysia? I'm playing wrong moves. Yeah. I disconnected first game. Oh, yeah. I really boosted you that one. No, I had two browser windows open. I'm waiting here for the game to start, and I'm like, what's wrong? And then it tells me that I had the browser window open and another browser window. I really can't stand that. There are a few things about chess.com that are very tricky, and that is one of the highest on my pet peeve list. Is that the multiple browser windows. Is that the city to visit, though, or is there another city worth visiting if I didn't want to be a super tourist? That is the question. Kuala Lumpur, yes. That's what I was asking. Is there another city? Is there more than one city that I should be thinking about? Should I ever get there? Earlier, Riga for Elmar's. In any event, in this particular position, we were looking at Fischer versus Petrosian. Petrosian played the rather lackluster knight f6, only because he couldn't respond more actively with knight takes e5, d takes e5, and bishop c5 because of a5. I have Tallinn on my list for Paul Keres. I want to visit Tallinn. So for the most part here, as it turns out, and I don't know this game by heart. Oh yeah, this is why. Fischer plays a very unusual move to me as well. In this particular position, I'd probably play knight on d to f3 or castles, or maybe even relocate my bishop to f4. But Fischer plays the rather quiet h3, and then Petrosian plays a very unusual king move, which gives Fischer a huge opportunity for advantage. But he didn't necessarily play the best moves. Yeah, Estonia, indeed. Candidate moves for white, everybody. It's time for candidate moves for white. Knight f7, king f7, bishop g6. Now you're analyzing continuation, by the way. You're analyzing a continuation. Drunk chess. Namaste. So, Hakeem Live, just in case you didn't know, I'm going to give him the EXP one instead of the other one. I do chess for a living, Hakeem, here in New York City. I really do have to put these two together. I have two abouts. I have one that was created with experience, EXP, and the other one was about, which is a better one. How do we get rid of the knight on f6? Well, that is a good question. So in other words, three candidate moves here would be like I don't know who suggested what or if we got it, but basically c4 is a threat, right? Knight on d to f3. Bishop back to f4 with the discovery on the bishop again, by the way. So, for example, bishop f4 threatens knight to g6 check. So black is going to have to guard the bishop with queen to c7. So bishop f4. Knight on d to f3 is perfectly logical. And c4 being the best move by Stockfish. Fischer actually played f4, which of course ensures a good advantage as well. As Super 3 pointed out just now, f4 with the idea of rook on f, or the idea of rook on f to c1. So the idea being c4 is still an option. c4 runs into an attempt at counterplay with queen to b4. And white just continues unabated with knight on d to f3. There's nothing to see here, folks. Just keep moving. After all, we do have the fork and the fork possibility. So there has to be something going on here. Knight takes d4. Again, runs into the interpolation of a5. Very awkward. And then we have some serious problems on our hands, where we're giving up a queen. That's no good. So as it turns out, c4 might be the best possible move. f4 was played. I believe that Petrosian replied with the best possible way to bolster his f7 square. And now Fischer played another Fischer-esque move. He liked to play this move a lot. Just honest work, no tricks. Candidate moves for white. You can find the moves that are better. Whoops. I didn't put the right one in. Candidates. I didn't tell this story earlier in my stream, but because my parents were separated, and I've learned my lesson from them as I plan to raise my daughters to adulthood as I have. But basically, my parents were separated when I was young, and I had to spend each holiday choosing which parent to spend either Thanksgiving or Christmas with. And it's always very awkward for children to have to choose between their parents for family holidays. And I don't really wish that on anyone. If anything, you can try to work your way out of it and don't leave the decision up to the kids. Just say, we're doing Wednesday night sleepover at the father's, and then Thursday afternoon to Friday with your mother, or something along those lines. The parents should work it out in advance. Never leave the decision up to the kids. But then I discovered chess. So every Thanksgiving weekend, I would tell my parents that I'm not making it. I'll stop by for a high and bye. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Elmars. I don't know. It's very tricky when your parents are alive and they choose not to spend time with you versus they cannot physically spend time with you. You can almost understand that one. It's a tough call. There's no good way around it, Elmars. It's like, and then they want you to choose which parent you want to be with. It's just not cool. Needless to say, chess tournaments every week, every holiday weekend I'd drive, spend Thanksgiving with my friends and chess relatives instead of having to choose family stuff. Both of my parents are no longer with me, so it's a tricky thing. I no longer have to worry about it. Yeah, I don't know if it's easy in any sense, but needless to say, in this particular position, Super 3 has contributed c4, knight f3, and Fischer came up with the rather esoteric bishop to f2, bishop to h4. Believe it or not, he came up with bishop f2, bishop to h4, which is perhaps not as good as your move, which was c4. So even though Fischer played bishop f2, c4 deserves attention as being the best possible move. And there's no arguing with knight f3. Both of those moves are very, very good. But here, after bishop f2, Black chooses a very unfortunate move. Black should choose knight to d7 or king to g8, but instead chose the move knight to g8. And it is almost time for us to capitalize on what's going on here as we choose candidate moves for white. Thank you, Hakeem, for being here, though. Congratulations on the tournament win. Fischer did not have Hans special. No, but Hans isn't cheating. Magnus Carlsen is off his rocker. If Magnus Carlsen's objective was to destroy Hans, I believe that Hans slept with Magnus's girlfriend. Or had something going on with Magnus's girlfriend. And that is why all of this started. I believe that Magnus's girlfriend stepped out on him. And Hans possibly got in the crossfire. Oh, I forgot about that. 1 second here. While I reorganize a few things. So, the move that was played, or the best move, was the second best move was played by Fischer, which was f5. Just bursting through, right? Returning to our other idea of the forks is also possible. But as it turns out, f5 and Petrosian does not react in the best possible manner. This is true. He didn't play that, did he? No! I apologize. Did he not play this right away? We can no longer use this instructional video as I've made a mistake. If I can clip it out or trim it out this segment, I will. But after bishop f2, queen to c7 was played. The bishop actually made it to h4. And then Petrosian played knight to g8. And this was the main line of the game. And f5, if you suggested it, was certainly the best move in the position. Yeah, he doesn't really want to give it up. And yeah. So Black did not find the best possible move here. Black should have played the move f6, but instead played knight takes e5, bishop takes e5, and allows the lines to be open in front of his king. And after f takes e6, he still refuses to batten down the hatches with a move like f6, which is what he really needed to do, and instead played bishop f6. I looked at all these lines, by the way. That's why I got a little lost in the confusion. I looked at a lot of these lines. And I had a tough time trying to decide what was best and what was not best. E takes f7, bishop takes f7. And now candidate moves for white. This is the Fischer's Road to Reykjavik, the Unstoppable American, the last 18 months of his life. An amazing and incredible book. The stories, Timon is really on it. You can never get enough of Fischer stories. And all four of these books have amazing Fischer stories. There is no other world champion to study for the brilliance of an individual triumphing over evil. Trying to find three moves in this position for white. Now Elmar's, if you were playing a bullet game, you would have already played a move by now, so you should have released the Kraken. You should have released the Kraken. No, nothing? Well, this is one of those cases where we have to ask ourselves, where are the weaknesses? Where are the weaknesses? What are the best worst placed pieces? And lastly, we might also ask, what is the opponent's intention? I wish I could delete a comment. What is our opponent's idea, intention? Do we want to win? Just are there. Queen A2 to connect the rooks and take the E file. Interesting concept. I like it. Superman. Bishop F2, Knight B3. I like the idea that you're going for the queen side, but most of the action is taking place on the king side. And as it turns out, I wish I could delete your one comment. If Chess Kudo is here, I believe he can delete just the one comment. I'm going to see if I can do it. I don't have the ability. I'm not in a mod view. I think I need to watch my own channel with my own mod view. In 3 moves, we take a queen. Exactly. I'm a little worried about d4 in reply to queen a2. So knight f3 was played. Pretty logical move. Bishop takes h4, knight takes h4. And now the knight returns to f6. Bobby Fischer secures the bishop pair and removes the defender of the white squares with knight g6 and bishop takes g6. And now Fischer gave Trojan's move, which happens to be the best one, a double exclamation mark with king e7. And does not necessarily play the best move himself. He plays...
This is a 38 special cut.
We were not necessarily going to hear the 38 special cut, unfortunately. I should go back to that song to find out if that's actually 2 songs in one. But in this particular position, now you can see that the rook on a1 is coming into the game. And it's really time for black to try to bail out. This is the first of the match games in the USSR versus the rest of the world match that took place in Belgrade in 1970. Trojan continues his run. Certainly the best move. And white plays rook on a to e1. Queen to c5 check so that he might be able to move his knight. Rook f8. And I was impressed by this particular move. a3 check and then take the yep, you're absolutely right on that. Queen a2, d4, queen to a3 check, and then take the pawn in the center. That's definitely an option. But was queen to e7 an option then too? Because there was no rook on a1. You take a quick peek at that one. Before I quiz on this particular move, position, I want to see that one. Knight to g6. So this is our position. Yeah, he had queen to e7. So on queen a2, if d4, you had queen a3 check. This does look good for you. But I felt like he has queen to e7. It's still clearly better for white. You're absolutely right. Queen a2, d4, clearly better for white. Maybe even better than what Fischer played. What Fischer actually played was knight f3, and he strips black of the light squared bishop and makes a run for it. Now black plays queen to c5 check, king h1, rook f8. And here on move number 32, I'm not saying how far we are from the glory, but we are going to be doing some candidate moves for white. Maybe for the last time. Now, the only thing that you can do to not improve here is to not participate. Just participate and you will become a better player. Just stretch yourself, try to find the best moves. When you're watching your favorite streamers, again, I say, try to find their best moves before they play them. And hope they're not playing bullet. Because it's very hard to find the best moves that they play before they play bullet. My pet goat, how are you? Most streamers aren't going to play slow enough chess. Where are you from, my pet goat? I am from New York City. What do we have? What do we have? Candidate moves for white. B4 to distract the queen, but the queen just takes on c3, and I'm not entirely sure that we haven't found our move yet. So there are 3 better moves than b4. b4 certainly is a reasonable move because the opening of the c file could be good for black. I mean, could be good for white. Hold on, I have to move this over. Streamlabs Prime is now Ultra? What? 1 Ultra plan. 8 creator apps. That's craziness. Alright, I will learn more later. Streamlabs is trying to get me to do even more. Little did I know. Till next time, start licking windows. I'm not sure what that means, Marcus. Trump chess with a piece of it, his second best move. So the way I would score this if I had my whiteboard that my grandson had absconded with. Drunk and tired. Oh, started locking windows. You started locking the windows. I was worried if you were licking them. So yeah, it is queen to e5. And now the move that was suggested by Elmar's, b4, is a real move now, because queen takes e3 is met by potential checkmates after queen to d6 check. And it's not going to be pretty. It's really not going to be pretty. Queen to d6 check, knight to d7, king to c7. I don't even know where to begin. Let's take a quick peek here. Are we really threatening that? Let's just say he plays a6, right? And we play b4. And if the queen remotely tries... Oh, it's mate in 1. Now that I have it in front of me on the board, I couldn't find mate in 1 3 moves away. But yeah, the e7 square. Basically, queen to e5 is threatening queen to e7 mate. But Superman, you had the right idea. Is Jack here? He's hiding? Jack Sarkisian is here on occasion. The irony is that I think he's streaming. Yeah, I didn't see that we just have the very simple queen to e7 mate. So b4, removing the defender of e7, is pretty fatal. So as it turns out, Petrosian reacts just a little bit better than what we thought he would. Basically, he's going to play rook to c7. We're still going to hit him with b4. After all, we still have the option after queen takes c3 of playing queen to d6 check, and the rook on f8 is falling. Very close to falling. Queen takes Is it going to be mate? I think it is going to be mate. So if queen takes c3, queen d6 check, knight d7, queen takes f8, knight takes f8. Rook takes, knight takes f8, rook takes f8. Or is it worse than I think? Oh, it's mate in 2. Rook takes f8, queen takes f8, and bishop to e8, and bishop discovered mate. So in other words, if this takes, is mate. So as it turns out, after the move queen e5, rook to c7 needed to be played, b4, even Andy Soltis had that one wrong, queen to c6, candidate moves. Good night, Elmars. Great to have you, buddy. Thank you for being here. Cheers and ciao. Namaste. Yeah, on rook c6, there's queen to b8 check, exactly. And threatening mate. So as it turns out, white to move in this particular position, yes! Oh, there's Serena Chan. As the ever so lovely Serena Chan. Namaste. We got a couple more cities next to Bhutan on our trip to Asia slash Kuala Lumpur and Riga. It has. I've been so worried about you. I hope you're off work now. You've been working too hard. My work, unfortunately, just involves chess. So I had a chance to reconnect thanks to Arena Chan because she had dropped off the radar working a little bit. So in my concern, I started doing a little bit of inventory. That is a big difference. Well, in terms of objective goals, yes. But in reality, we're looking for candidate moves for white. I don't know that we put it up, but we're going to put this one up. So rook on e1 is already there. Rook to d1, yeah. Certainly a very reasonable thought. A lot of good moves in this position. No worries. Rook takes f6 is a little extreme. This is Fischer versus Petrosian. Fischer did not sacrifice material, by the way. He did not believe in sacrificing material. Could be time for another run for the... I need to make you mine. If the rook goes to e7, I think queen takes e7. And then pawn takes queen. No, interestingly enough, with the king in the center, this is a very important point that was probably raised in a roundabout way. raised in a roundabout by no nonsense. He wanted to put the rook on d1, but c4 is easily the best move, just to start cracking him open. The knight on f6 is actually pinned to the rook on f8. So this pawn is really being threatened in many ways. Petrosian doesn't necessarily react the best way. You'd think this is surprising because he is a resolute defender. And now, after our complimentary shout out for It's Arena Chan, shout out for Chess Noah, who rated us just shortly before, a shout out for Chess Kudo, who's helping us in the background. We are going to do some candidate moves for white. And when I first saw this position, this is the move that appealed to me the most. There were several ideas, several thoughts that could be played. And this is just one of them. And away. With or without you. No nonsense. On the ball. Bishop f5. Keeping the king from escaping. Devastation. Dogs and cats living together. I'm trying to think of the rest of the Ghostbusters quote. Fire is raining from the sky. Absolutely. Bishop f5. And after bishop f5, Petrosian has very little to hope for. He tries to give back a little material. After all, his rook on f8 was the only piece that was not contributing. And as has been mentioned before, queen to b8 check wins a lot more material in a great sense of the word. And black just has several choices to lose with this particular game. Basically, after king e7, it's basically checkmate in one move. After queen to e8, Petrosian resigned with one move to go there. And had he tried queen to c8, rook takes d7, and on knight takes d7, queen to d8 threatens the unstoppable rook to f8 checkmate. Is it that unstoppable? It's just devastation no matter what. We get to check. Check. Oops, not that check. That check. Sorry about that. Queen takes c4 check. And after king to b8, we can just merely lock down on everything that he has to do in this position with threats. A lot of threats. Not so convincing though. I think he should have played that move instead, basically. But basically the game came to a close after king e7, rook on d to e1. And that was the end of it. You'd have to just give up all sorts of material with queen e6. Mass hysteria. Thank you, no nonsense. Mass hysteria. Fire raining from the skies. Dogs and cats living together. I was going to make that a sound alert in one of my sound alerts for pay for 10 cents. I have a few of those that I want to do. Princeton can use a guy like you, Joel. MD Night Zero, thank you for the gifts. Namaste. Taking advantage of the Amazon wish list. You've given me so much fodder for the end of the year, I don't even know where to begin. The Unstoppable American is the one we were just looking at, the very first game from this particular book, gifted to the dojo by Chris. I'm not going to say any more. I was going to actually text you earlier, buddy. Happy Thanksgiving. I didn't put your last name in, ironically, when I'd saved your number. So I actually had more than one Chris in my phone book without a last name. And I'm like, And so then when your gifts arrived, I said, all right, I'm going to add his last name to the contact. I just specifically remember when I first took your number that I'm thinking, okay, I have to look on the rating report to make sure I spell it right. And then I never actually got around to adding the last name. So the last time when you reminded me that I had your number, I said, oh yeah, I have your number. And then I went to look at Chris and I'm like, not good. I fell down on the job there. How are you? Hopefully you and the family are, I don't know if you're having Thanksgiving with the in-laws or with your relatives and your daughter is having a great time with everyone around, or crossing my fingers, God forbid, that you're not working and you're enjoying this day, this lovely day. I've got a lot of reading ahead of me because I was mentioning earlier on the stream that another of the books that you willed me and gifted to the dojo, Bobby Fischer, and his world. My God, John Donaldson, I've got many of his books because we worked together in 1995 and he gave me several books that he wrote on Alakine as well. He wrote a lot. He did amazing research on Alakine and he does unbelievable work researching Bobby Fischer and his world. I'm just trying to see, there are approximately 60 games in one volume, and there are about 100 games in this book that I am going to revisit. Basically, you can never study these games enough. Was it this one? The Unstoppable American has 64. Isn't that annoying? It has 63 games in it. You couldn't put one more game to make it 64, a nice Chesic number, but okay. The next book, which has got amazing stories in it, highly recommended, Fischer in Cuba, 10 Years of Close Encounters by Zenon Franco. He covers the long-distance chess match, which was actually held in the Marshall Chess Club, quite well. Basically, the moves were done by teletype, and one of the most amazing things that came out of that match, as I go back in time, is that Fischer played in the teletype Havana Cuba match. I don't know if this wasn't the first round. I haven't finished the Cuba stories yet. But Fischer answered d4 with knight f6, basically. And then move number 2 by teletype came across and it was e5. And they found out that the teletype operator, Americans were not allowed to go to Cuba in the 1960s. So Bobby Fischer participated via teletype for the Marshall Chess Club at a table that is still there, by the way. And his opponent's move was e5, and Fischer decided that he was not going to take back White's move, d4, or his move. He was going to play the position as is, so he ended up playing his first Alakine's defense, and he went on to win the game. That took place in Cuba. And the third book, which is Bobby Fischer Explained and Some Stories. I'm sorry, the fourth book. I lost count here. Overall, Chris, thank you so much. Now this is a Q&A book. It's actually quite a good lesson book. In this particular book, there were 60 games. This is the one with 63 in The Unstoppable American. And I absolutely love and adore all of Fisher's moves. Fisher himself, you know, there's some parts of him that you can take or leave. But it looks like there are 46 games in Fisher Volume 1, 10 Years in Cuba. Which is quite fascinating. These two authors, very, very good stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Have a good night. Chris, I am also exiting a little bit stage left. I haven't decided where we're going from here. But I do believe that we're going to visit a very new Grandmaster streamer. I will roll the ending credits as I set up the raid. I want to thank you all for being here. Jeffrey Zhang is streaming the World Cup analysis. Jay. I want to make sure that Jack Sarkisian isn't streaming. Z-Bean, also a lovely streamer in Malaysia. Hakeem, are you still here? Hakeem is no longer with us. Case Money is with us. TK, BT. Yeah, we're going to go straight to the top. GMJX. And I hope you enjoy the commentary. I expect it to be highly instructional. You get to see really good players playing. Please join Jeffrey Zhang as he is providing amazing coverage. And we will be back for more Fisher encounters. Not just here in Belgrade, but we'll probably do round 2 in Belgrade next. I just need to set up the stream a little better than I did the last time. Cheers and ciao, everyone. Thank you so much. Hope to talk to you soon.